Welcome. Now in this session we're going to teach you three new words, or at least just two new words, opposite and adjacent. Now for you to learn these two new words, opposite and adjacent, you got to firstly remember we're dealing with right angle triangles. So the question we're going to ask you is this a right angle triangle when you look at it? Is this a right angle triangle? Well, I hope you had an answer in your head. If your answer was yes, you are wrong. Because if you look at this diagram, it's not a right angle triangle because there's no information here to tell you that it is a right angled triangle. But what I'm going to do now is I'm putting the right angle in. And now if I ask you, is that a right angle triangle? Then your answer will be yes, this is a right angle triangle because you got a 90 degree here. This is a right angle triangle because you got a 90 degree. Sometimes they won't put the sign like that. They can just write 90 degrees like that. It's fine. So they could do that or they could do this. That's number one. Number two. So firstly, you must make sure the triangles are right angled. Secondly, identify the hypotenuse, which you already know. The hypotenuse is the longest side or the side opposite the right angle. So this is your hypotenuse, which we shall just call h for short. Then, now, the word opposite and adjacent we're going to. Now it depends from which angle you are looking. Let's say we are looking from angle C. If you're looking from angle C, you will always be looking from one angle at a time. You will always be looking from one angle at a time. So if you're looking from this angle, then that's the hypotenuse and that is the opposite side. And in short, we're just going to call it O in bracket. The remaining side, this side, is now called adjacent for two reasons. One reason you can just say, well, it's the remaining side. Or the next reason, adjacent, because it is right next to the angle. So it's adjacent. Adjacent means next to. So this side is right next to the angle, so it's adjacent. That side is opposite. So those are the two new words you're going to learn. So, if you take a right angle triangle and you're doing trigonometry, if you're looking from an angle, you'll call it hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. If you're doing theorem of Pythagoras, you'll call it hypotenuse, other side, right? If you're doing theorem of Pythagoras, you'll call it hypotenuse, other side. But if you're doing trigonometry, that means you're finding ratios and you're looking from one angle, then you'll call it hypotenuse, opposite side, adjacent side. Now, let's take the same triangle, write it there. But this time we're going to look from angle A. So when you're looking from angle A, then that is the opposite side, which we shall call O. And this is your hypotenuse, which we shall call H, and this will now be the adjacent side. So once you work on the hypotenuse and opposite side, the remaining one will be the adjacent side. Okay, that's the first two things you're going to learn now in this session. Now the next thing we're going to learn in this session is what are the 6 ratios. Now the 6 ratios are given special names. So I'm going to give the full name, then the short form, another word for short form is abbreviation. And then the formula. let's draw in some lines here so that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, what is the full name, what is the abbreviation, and what is the formula? Now, the first one we learn is called sine. S-I-N-E, sine. Abbreviation is S-I-N, sine. And the formula is sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, OH. Opposite over hypotenuse. Then you learn cosine. And the short form for that is COS. And you will say that cos is equal to A over H. The next one is tangent. The short form for that is TAN, tangent. And tangent is equal to O over A. Now, those are your three basic ratios. From the three, we get what is called the reciprocals. From the three, we get the reciprocals. The reciprocal of sine is cosecant. The reciprocal of cosine is secant. And the reciprocal of tangent is cotangent. Reciprocal simply means inverse. It simply means inverse. So, in short, that's cosec, that is sec, and that is cot. And reciprocal means inverse, means upside down, upside down, upside down, or pendula, pendula, pendula. So, cosec is equal to H over O. Sec is equal to H over A. And cot is equal to A over O. So that's your 6 basic ratios that we are talking about. And you have to know how to find the opposite and adjacent sides so that you can give the right answers. Now, we have a little acronym to help you, and that's called SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. So you can see sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan is opposite over adjacent. So if you remember SOHCAHTOA, you'll be able to find answers very, very easily. Okay? So there's your first lesson actually in trigonometry. All what we taught before this was basics. So there's your first lesson. There's your 6 ratios. I think your syllabus only asks you to concentrate on these first 3. But just in case the others are there, there's the formulas. Right. So you got to learn this off. It's got to be in your mind. SOHCAHTOA. Some people like to say, some old hens cackle and hackle through old age. That's another way to remember it. Or just remember SOHCAHTOA. Alright, in the next lesson, we are going to start finding these ratios. These are just the formulas. We are going to learn to now find the ratios. Okay, sit back and relax till the next exercise.